Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Are you ready? Hey everybody, it's Jeff. Everybody's here. So, I hope you had a great Monday here. And hopefully the rest of the week will be more hopeful for you. And you can get some things done because the stress of the holidays, which, you know, it's sad that it has to be stressful. I mean, aren't holidays supposed to be times where we can relax and enjoy things, you know? But these particular holidays, Thanksgiving and Christmas, are really stressful because they both involve putting people together sometimes that aren't really getting along, you know, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, Halloween is just fun. Halloween, that's my favorite holiday. I know people would, but it is. It's fun because everybody can have something out of it, you know. It isn't just for the kids, it can be for the adults in their own way, you know. But when it comes to Thanksgiving, Thanksgiving, you know, is good if you have a nice family. But if you got a family that's really, you know, an annoying family and stuff, then that's usually a bomb, and people don't look forward to that holiday. When it comes to Christmas, you know, people busy themselves with, you know, gifts and decorations and buying stuff, you know, for themselves. You know, I mean, there's all kinds of to-dos, you know, and everyone's got, you know, they put themselves in debt every fucking year when it comes to Christmas, and nobody should really do that. I mean, and to expect people to always come with gifts all the time for Christmas is really ridiculous. All right. To me, Christmas has always been something for the kids, really, because they get the gifts. And adults, why the hell do we need gifts? If we need something, we can go out and buy it. Okay? And for adults, the gifts they have to be different. They can't be junk or something that we're going to toss in the garbage. You know, you have to think better when it's gift buying for adults. You got to buy something that says something. I mean, I'm not talking about cards, okay? I'm talking about, you know, if you make something to give to a person, an adult, that, let's say, you know, it's like a memory of things or something like that. You know, thoughtful gifts. And there's a lot of way. If you're really smart at looking for things to buy, you know, you just need to think about something, even if it's just one gift. Something that will last because it brings back a memory or speaks to something, you know, that'll come later. You know, with kids, I mean, it's always what's the latest toy, you know, or something. But as we get older, the gifts have to be more thoughtful. And you know, when you look in the story in the Bible, the birth of Jesus and stuff, and you look at the three wise men, and each gift that they brought was something thoughtful for the baby, right? And I think that really should be the basis for how we do things. But it's sad though that we kind of taken that and marketed that holiday to the point of ridiculousness. Hold on a second. Excuse the interruption. So I have a couple of videos here to play, and they both pretty much talk about Elon Musk. This first one here is, about Kyle Kalinske, who does videos about things politically, like what I do here. He really came down hard on Elon Musk because he makes a very good point. This guy, he's a billionaire, but he's an immigrant, and he's not an American. But he comes over here, attaches himself to Trump in the tune of $250 million donations, okay? Attaches himself to Trump, and now the two of them are like Siamese twins, okay? They're connected at the hip, and now you see Trump and Musk everywhere together. And people are starting to wonder, who did we vote for? Did we vote for Trump or did we vote for Elon Musk? Because look, we can't elect someone for president who is an American citizen, obviously, right? I mean, I guess if it's an American who's a criminal, that's different, but I digress. The thing of it is, he helped Trump win by giving him big fucking $250 million. All right, so now that he's out there under Trump's wing, okay, he's sitting here telling people economic policies that he wants to see implemented in this country. And people are scratching their heads saying, who the hell is he to come to this country and say you can do this stuff? Okay, you're not even a fucking American, and you want to talk about, putting the screws to Social Security and all that? You get the hell out of this country, So let's go to the video here, and then we'll talk about that on the other side.
An immigrant billionaire getting corporate welfare saying, I want to cut your grandma's Social Security. This is insanity. This is insane. This guy should be deported.
Elon Musk and the other oligarchs are openly talking about cutting Social Security. Republican lawmakers are saying everything is on the table. If you are an American and you work, you should be absolutely furious about this. Kyle Kalinske covered this on his show, Secular Talk. We're going to take a look at clips from Kyle Kalinski's show. I will share my thoughts as well. You don't want to miss this one. Let's get into it together.
The guy's a hack. The guy's a hack. The guy's a fraud. The guy's a mess. And by the way, I love the idea too of Doge is going to recommend a lot of cuts, even to the Pentagon, bro. Even to the Pentagon, bro. Really? Elon, you're one of the top subcontractors of the Pentagon. You get billions of dollars from the Pentagon. You going to cut your own money? Is that what you're going to do? No, you're not. No, you're not. And by the way, even if Doge says, hey, we should do some Pentagon cuts, you know what's going to happen? Trump's going to be like, fuck out of here. We're not doing that. Because he increased the military budget every time. Last term he was in office. He's going to do the same this time. Because he's just as beholden to Raytheon and Lockheed Martin and all the military-industrial complex. He postures like he's not, but he absolutely is. Right? And so then at the end of the day, where are the bulk of the cuts going to be from these idiots? It's going to be all the things that help regular people. Elon was tweeting the other day a thread about how horrible Social Security is. Right? Guys, stop and think about this. Elon Musk is an immigrant billionaire who gets corporate welfare to the tune of billions of dollars from our government. An immigrant billionaire getting corporate welfare saying, I want to cut your grandma's Social Security. This is insanity. This is insane. This guy should be fucking deported. Are you kidding me? Come into our country, shake down our government, getting bullshit subsidies that you don't need, so stealing taxpayer money, and then you're going to turn around and say, hey, you know those few programs that help regular people? Get rid of them.
Kyle Kalinske is exactly right. If Elon Musk tries to do any of this stuff, he should be deported. Kick this scumbag out of the country. I don't think people today realize how important Social Security is. I mean, some people do. But there was a time in America when senior citizens starved to death prior to Social Security. And all of these scumbag oligarchs like Elon Musk and all of the scumbag right-wing politicians call Social Security an entitlement program to make it sound like it's welfare. Guess what? It is an entitlement program because we are entitled to it. If you're an American and you work, Social Security is your money. You are entitled to it. And if Elon Musk or any of these other piles of garbage cut Social Security by a dime, all working people in the United States should be in the streets. We can't accept this. Kyle Kulinski is exactly right about Elon Musk. He's not going to cut anything with defense. And this idea that Donald Trump is the anti-war guy that the right-wingers and MAGA actually believe. How stupid are these people? As Kyle Kulinski says, if anything is cut, it will be things that benefit regular people. They might cut the VA because they love to use the troops as pawns to fight their wars, but they don't like so much spending on money on them after they're wounded in those wars.
Or at least cut them massively. Fuck no. Don't touch Social Security. Don't touch Medicare. Don't touch Medicaid. I hope Trump is politically intelligent enough to realize he was right when he took those positions on the campaign trail, and he should not touch them at all. And tell these guys to go kick rocks. But as I said, nothing matters. They don't mean a goddamn word that they say. They'll flip a position like this, and that's who they are. That's who they are. If it means getting closer to money and getting closer to power, forget everything I said before. Even Trump himself with the whole, as we just discussed, he hated Ron DeSantis. Rob DeSanctimonious is wrong about everything. He's the worst Republican. And then now he's like, yeah, let's pick Rob DeSanctimonious for defense secretary. Let's do that.
So, I mean, I think you can see, you know, where I'm coming from here is, you know, it's inappropriate for an outsider like that, whether he's a businessman or not doesn't really make any difference. He's talking about government economic policies that he wants to see implemented. Okay. And to me, it sounds like, you know, he's telling Trump to do these things, and Trump might be going along with it, you know. And, you know, people have said that, you know, Trump's mental faculties are not what they used to be, and maybe Musk is there to sort of keep him on track, you know. And, you know, Trump could be, you know, being influenced a little bit by Musk, who's a guy who's talked to Putin on several occasions, okay? And, you know, you have to wonder about this Russian collusion here going on behind the scenes, you know. He's too big of a fucking question mark to be that involved in our country's government. You see what I'm saying? It's bad enough that he's getting subsidies from us in our tax dollars for his company, which, you know, is worth billions of fucking dollars, okay? I mean, it's a huge fucking company. It's bad enough that he's milking our government for these subsidies and stuff, and getting subcontracts and stuff by the Pentagon. But it's a whole different matter when he's actually getting involved in our government's election process and how we select our leaders, and, you know, and then dictating what he thinks America needs to do, you know, as far as cutting Social Security and what I mean. These are issues that don't involve his fucking company, but he's out there talking about it like they are his issues, and he's not even an American, okay? And, you know, I can't see how that's right in the system, how that's really allowed to go on. But it is, apparently. And I think one of the things about the people who designed this country was that it would be America for the Americans, for its citizens. And people in other countries don't get to participate in that system. I mean, hell, you can't vote for someone who was an American as a president, okay? And I think that right there in itself says just how much foreigners are allowed to meddle with this country's government practices. And Elon Musk, in my opinion, has crossed that line by being this close to the president and talking about matters as if he was an American. And, you know, this company, Doge, well, I guess it is because it's not really a government entity. It's made outside of the system, which he's part of. Again, I suppose that would be the only way you could include Elon Musk in something like that, because if it was a government thing, I don't think Musk would be allowed. to sit on the panel of an entity like that. But so they designed this outside the system, and they've given it broad, powers to be able to dictate what things the budget should and shouldn't have for the country's economic our budget. Okay, and like I said, he benefits a lot from these what do you want to call it, corporate welfare, as we call it. He benefits a lot from that. So he's not any cuts to the government, their budget, or their, what I'm saying. Yes, I'm going to include that, because that's his domain. Okay, that's where he makes his bread and butter, is through the Pentagon. So he's not going to recommend any cuts being done there. And like the guy was saying, Trump won't cut anything there either, because he's for the Pentagon and the military. I mean, who's the one that created that fucking Space Force? Remember that? Okay, while he was president the first time? I mean, he conjured up that fucking entity, and all it does is suck up tax dollars. All right? The Air Force does all those things that he claims the Space Force does now. The Air Force always did. Anything that's in the satellites, the Air Force was always involved in that. They were always involved with NASA. This Space Force thing is a non-entity. It doesn't need to be there. It wasn't needed. But he created that, and that means more tax dollars given to that. It's the same thing that happened under George W. Bush when after 9/11 they created that Homeland Security Department, which we didn't need that either. Okay, we had the FBI, we had the CIA. We already had the things in place to protect this country. What happened on 9/11 was that the people who were supposed to be on top of the matter dropped the ball. Okay? The president was given a fucking report about Saddam Hussein, which he didn't look at. Okay? And didn't realize that there was already plan underway by this terrorist group to attack this country in some way. If he had seen it, okay, he might have done something to prevent it. But because he didn't, and and everyone else kind of just fucked around and didn't do a damn thing about it, they thought the answer was to create a whole other department. Okay, basically he took that incident and created another big bloated system, which we don't need. But like I said, that's in the past, and we still live with that today, and I can't say that we're any more or less safe with that thing being around. I mean, I think the FBI and the CIA have done a lot to guarantee the country's safety after 9/11 than probably the Homeland Security ever really does. But anyway, but that's the thing, this is the way Republicans think. They figure that, let's create entities. They talk about shrinking the government. It's too big, it sucks up too much tax dollars. But when they're in power, they always have a reason to create something new, to expand the government into different facets of our lives, okay? And it's usually in a negative fashion. It's not something like, let's say, let's create this new program, Medicare, okay, to help people. No, the things that they talk about expanding are things that benefit a certain few. Not America as a whole, but the wealthy top. Okay? Something to create more revenue, more money for the system, for the government, to be bringing in more tax dollars. Okay? They use the government to suck up tax dollars that go to the businesses, okay, in the form of subsidies or whatever you want to call it, okay? And at the same time, they cut those taxes on those big entities, so that way the profits stay there. Okay? And that's why when you look at a graph of, the wealth graph, okay, this little chart that shows, you're going to see that, when it comes to who owns the most money, the bottom, up to about 80% of the people in this country are always at the bottom. But after you pass that 80% and you start hitting the 100%, the bar goes drastically up, because all that money that was down here has all been swept up here in a fucking storm, like a snowstorm. You know, it's created a big snowbank that all went right up that, you know, to the top. And that ain't right. Okay, you can't run a whole country on a policy like that. And what are they doing now? They're doubling down on that stupid policy, and you got an outsider cheering it on. You know, I think a lot of people in days to come are going to find Elon Musk to be a capital irritant, because the press, if they do their jobs, is going to find out just how involved this man is becoming into our government, and how much influence he's putting on the president. He doesn't even have to be the president. If you've got a brainless idiot as a president, like Trump will be, Elon Musk comes in there and he can, you know, push and prod and, you know, and put a crowbar under his ass to get him to do all kinds of things. And before you know it, Trump is pressing all of the buttons that Musk wants him to press. So who's really going to be the president for the next 4 years? I don't think it's going to be Trump. I think it's going to be Elon through Trump. Trump is the, you know, what do we call it? The proxy. You know, like we're doing in Ukraine. The Ukrainians are fighting this war against Russia, and we're just supplying them weapons. They're the proxy fighters for us, okay? In a way, I'm not saying that that's, you know, only because of us, but, you know, they're the proxy fighters. Like when Iran gets Hamas here to go after Israel, so proxy fighters, okay? Well, Trump is the proxy president, okay? The real muscle behind this incoming White House administration is going to be Elon Musk and all his buddies, okay? And so that means we got a president, probably for the first time in American history, that's a president that is being led by the nose by a foreigner who's going to run this country into the ground. He doesn't care. He's a billionaire. Why would he care about all the people he's going to throw out on the streets? You know, and he won't care. It's not, like I said, it's not his country. It's not his home. And just because he has a business here doesn't mean he's got the right, any right, to do what he's doing. Okay? And people, I think, are going to get really pissed at Trump hanging around with this guy. But I don't think Trump has much choice. Okay? He's only in the White House to keep himself free and out of prison for the things that he's done. And for the price of that, he's going to let Elon Musk tell him what needs to be done. You know? And that, to me, that's a big, big fucking problem. You know, and it should be another slap in the face to the MAGA people out there who thought they knew what they were voting for. Okay? And we tried to explain to them what kind of a man Trump is. They would not listen. You know, you can't say the Democrats didn't try and try and try. I mean, we talked to these people till we were blue in the face. Okay? And instead, they called us idiots, you know, devils, or whatever the hell you want, you know. And they would just poke fun of us, you know, poke fun at us for that. But now, these people are turning on each other. Okay, they're going after each other for things that were said that they didn't mean, or finding out that the person they thought who they were is really not. You know, and it's you know, a lot of people are really getting buyer's remorse. And I told somebody that on here about 2 months ago. You know, if he wins, there's going to be buyer remorse for that, because it's going to come quick. You know, and boy, I'll tell you, I was right. I might have been wrong about, you know, Kamala having a damn good chance of winning the presidency. Okay, but at the same time, I wasn't too far wrong, because, you know, Trump's margin of victory against her is pretty tight. Okay, I think they consider that to be one of the tightest elections here, you know, that we've had in this country for a long time. And his victory over Kamala does not guarantee him a mandate at all. He got a very slim part of the popular vote in this country. So anyway, let's go to a commercial break, and we'll come back with the other video about Elon.
This is me.
This is me.
This is me.
I'm Alex Curtis. I'm a lobsterman in Maine, and this is me.
I'm Ruth McLaughlin, and this is me.
I'm Eric Hopkins. I'm an artist, and this is me.
This is me.
Me.
This is me.
This is me.
This is me.
At the end of the journey, the main thing is you, original.
So since I literally spend almost all day of my job talking to men, single men, married men, men who are unhappy in their relationships, I think I finally figured out that men are actually very simple, and this is how you can make a man happy so he will never cheat on you and he will love you. Alright, you guys ready? Number 1, a man likes to feel useful to a woman. So if you're constantly saying that you're an independent girl, you don't need a man, as much as that's awesome, that actually turns men off a little bit. No husband wants to feel unneeded. So just making your man feel like he's useful, if that's saying, hey, can you help me bring the groceries in, even though you're totally capable of doing it yourself, or hey, can you put this painting up for me, I can't reach that high. Obviously, men know that you could do it yourself, but a lot of men they like to feel useful and needed, and it's not a terrible thing to just make your man feel like a man. Number 2 is men are natural problem solvers. So when you're coming to a man with your problems at night, you need to either specify and say, hey, I just need you to listen, or you need to be open to him helping you solve a problem. Most men get really frustrated and overprotective of their partners, and when they hear their partner, crying about something at work or upset about, whatever it is, their natural instinct is to want to help you and want to help you solve it. And honestly, if your man is not doing that, he's probably not that into you. So let a man help you solve your problems. And if not, just be very clear with him and say, I just want you to listen right now. Number 3, and I know this might be super controversial and I might get canceled for this, but honestly, men are physical creatures and you do need to satisfy your man. I'm not saying as the relationship goes on and you're married for 10 years that you need to be doing it every day, but I would say at least once a week. And that means even doing it when you don't feel like it. Let's put it this way. If your man never told you, how beautiful you looked, or never, brought you flowers, or never, did all the things that us women like, do you think you would still be with him? It's the same for men. They are just physical beings, and you have to satisfy them, or you're gonna just lose the connection and they're gonna look elsewhere.
Hello, I'm Patrick Stewart. I believe in helping people in crisis, whether they are from Lebanon, Ukraine, Gaza, Sudan, or any troubled area around the world. I ask you to join me in supporting the International Rescue Committee's life-changing work. The IRC is on the front lines of humanitarian crises, and IRC teams stay on the ground as long as they are needed, so displaced people can rebuild their lives. Your support today matters. It can provide medicine, emergency food, critical supplies, and many life-changing programs. It is a gift of hope when families need it most. I've seen the difference caring people like you can make. So please, if you can, make a gift right now.
Be a part of the entertainment value of a lifetime.
I loved it.
It was the best performance I've seen in a lifetime.
I loved the show. I liked it very much. He's a very entertaining man. It's well worth the money.
Now appearing in Charlottetown, coming to Halifax November 6th to the 18th, and St. John November 20th through the 26th.
Everybody. All right, so this next video here comes from iHip News, and they are going to talk about things about Elon Musk and Trump, and how very puzzling the two of them are. And you know, it's an interesting conversation. So let's go to that video, and I'll get you on the other side.
80%.
Welcome to iHip News. Pumps, I've noticed that the president-elect of the United States of America seems to have to travel everywhere with a full-time babysitter, and that babysitter is Elon Musk. The Notre Dame Cathedral reopened. Emmanuel Macron invited Jill Biden and Joe Biden. Joe Biden couldn't make it. Now we know why, because he was probably in the Situation Room regarding Syria. And Donald Trump is there, parading around, and it looks like he has a constant monitor in Elon Musk, which makes my brain goes to this. We now know that Elon Musk and Vladimir Putin spoke a lot the last couple of years. We know that Trump admires / fangirls / potentially rumored to be in a compromising position with Putin. Why does the president-elect have to have a billionaire babysitter that follows him everywhere? It projects such weakness, and I've never seen a president of the United States have to have a billionaire babysitter parade around with him on the international stage. It's really weird.
It's so strange to me because when I look at that situation, I think, would you want Elon Musk, Mr. Ketamine, to be your babysitter? The answer is no. But I wonder if it's what Michael Cohen has told us repeatedly, that Trump has such a desire for money, and he thinks money is so important. So he's so impressed with Elon Musk because he's the richest man in the world. On the flip side, Elon Musk wants to be president. So it's this just really tangled, moth to a flame, toxic relationship going on. It's so gross. And you know what grossed me up the most about that whole thing in France? That Jill Biden was gracious. And so Donald Trump, as he is known to grift, starts like a cologne line with that picture and says, oh, you know, you can't resist it because she was trying to be gracious. It's so gross.
I want to go back to your point about Elon Musk, there being some sort of envy power struggle. Is it that, or is it more sinister? Is it that Elon Musk paid over $200 million for the access that he has? And I stated earlier, there is some sort of colluding or conversations with Vladimir Putin. My question is, do we have a bought and paid for, senile, demented president-elect that larger, more nefarious characters have him, have him on the strings? Because Trump never wants to be overshadowed. Right. He wants to be the richest. He wants to be the best. And as I connect the dots behind the scenes, over $225 million rigged an entire website, X, all in his favor. and spent tons and tons of money in the blue wall states to flip them. My question is there something deeper going on?
My answer to that would be absolutely. I mean, I just don't think there's any way around it. Why would Elon Musk be so vested when you can find on X comments that he's made about Donald Trump's age, his inability to run a country at that age? I don't think there's any question. It's far more nefarious than we even realize.
Okay, then Trump did an interview over the weekend, and he's been, just quietly, at Mar-a-Lago since he won, tweeting, Truth Socialing, having, dinner parties where everybody has to give him a standing ovation all the time because he's so wildly insecure. But I'd forgotten just, his greatest hits of just misery that he rolls out. And here he is being questioned about the 2020 election.
Sir, I don't have to tell you this because you've talked about it. It comes at a time when the country is deeply divided. And now you're going to be leading this country for the next 4 years. For the sake of unifying this country, will you concede the 2020 election and turn the page on that chapter?
No. No, why would I do that? But let me just tell you, when you say the country is deeply divided, I'm not the president. Joe Biden's the president.
But you're going to be the president.
No. I'm not the president. So when you say it's deeply divided, I agree. But Biden's the president, I'm not. And he has been a divider.
Here's what bothers me about that line of questioning. She says, for the sake of unifying the country, will you concede? Shouldn't the question be, for the sake that you were definitely beaten, that you lost the election, and over 60 court cases have proven that you lost the election, for the sake of honesty and integrity, will you concede the election? This deference that's always given to these power structures, even in a simple question like that, really, really bother me. There's no way that he's going to be able to unify the country. He is the most polarizing president we have ever had. And the people on his side that stormed the Capitol and all of this, he could say, hey, I actually lost. And they'd be like, no, he didn't. He's just saying that. I mean, it just makes me insane. What are your thoughts on that, the way she questioned him?
I think that the softball questions that he gets, it's revolting because he is always given the latitude to lie and nobody ever calls him on it. I'm with you on the questioning. But here's the deal. You can't ask that man about honesty and integrity because he has none and he has no value for it. I mean, it is the most foreign thing to him on the planet. And here's the deal. Unifying the country, he doesn't give a shit about unifying the country. He doesn't give a shit about bipartisan work or working together and helping all the American people. All he gives a shit about is him. So it does not surprise me in the least. A, that she threw him softballs and asked a terrible question, and B, that he was allowed to lie with impunity.
Okay, next up, she questions him about the tariffs, and we all know what's coming, but he's finally starting to say it. Kylie, play the clip.
To lower prices, you are now proposing tariffs against the United States' three biggest trading partners. Economists of all stripes say that ultimately consumers pay the price of tariffs.
I don't believe it.
Can you guarantee American families won't pay more?
I can't guarantee anything. I can't guarantee tomorrow. But I can say that if you look at just pre-COVID, we had the greatest economy in the history of our country. And I had a lot of tariffs on a lot of different countries, but in particular China, we took in hundreds of billions of dollars.
I mean, he's just a liar. He just sits and lies and lies and lies. This man knows nothing about the economy other than just bravado to say, oh my God, when I was president, the stock market was doing well. Well, Biden's stock market has blown his out of the water. And I think it's interesting that you see that when the Democrats are in power and there's public polling done, Republicans say the economy is terrible and Democrats say it's great. And then vice versa happens. Just since this election, you're already starting to see the polling switch. Democrats are now starting to say the economy isn't doing well, and Republicans are saying, yes, it is doing well. And so there is this need for the American public above and beyond anything else to feel like their side is winning over the well-being of people. And I think that's really, really problematic when we, just disregard facts and disregard data and then curate it to our own personal biases. And I think this happens on both sides.
Oh, it absolutely happens on both sides. What kills me about that, why didn't Kristen Welker say, this is how tariffs work? It's not open for discussion. Tariffs are paid by the country that they're being imported to. The corporations are going to pass the tax on. They're going to pass the price increase on to the American consumer. And then when he said, we had the greatest economy in the world before COVID. Sir, that's a lie. That is not true. But they never do. They never do. They just let it go on, which is why half the people that watch that and think, well, before COVID, he had the best economy in the world.
Pumps, did you know that last year, half of American consumers took on debt to pay for the holidays?
I can believe it. And there's nothing more stressful than financial stress.
Listener, this year it could be you that's facing debt. It could be me. And it's never too early to start planning to get out. And my friends at PDS Debt can help with a personalized solution just for you. If you're making payments every month on your debt and your balances aren't going down, PDS has solutions for you. Everyone with $10,000 or more in eligible debt qualifies, and there is no minimum credit score required. Bad and fair credit are accepted. Save more while paying off your debt in a fraction of the time. Start planning today. Get a free debt analysis right now at pdsdebt.com/IHIP. It only takes 30 seconds. That's pdsdebt.com/IHIP. pdsdebt.com/IHIP. The sane washing that continues with him is something that the corporate media has just failed and contributed and been complicit in this rise of this authoritarian style figure that has a full-time babysitter that's a billionaire, that somehow says, we are the anti-establishment party. We're taking out the elites, when he is a billionaire that was funded by a billionaire, that babysitter billionaire is united with a bunch of other billionaires. It is just also they can exploit the masses. That is their number one goal, is to exploit the masses to enrich themselves more. They use culture wars to keep their eye off the ball of the class wars, because what's really going on here are class wars. Because he's such this crazy figure and he always says crazy stuff, this clip right here is important to me, and it's because this is how demented and senile the man really is. The media and Twitter and all of these other places just gets 15, 20 seconds where he sounds somewhat coherent. But listen to this. This is the bulk of the crap he says.
I won on two things: the border, and more than immigration. They like to say immigration. I break it down more to the border, but I won on the border, and I won on groceries. It's a very simple word, groceries. Like almost, who uses the word? I started using the word. The groceries, when you buy apples, when you buy bacon, when you buy eggs, they would double and triple the price over a short period of time. And I won an election based on that. We're going to bring those prices way down.
So that just, it's nonsensical. Right. It makes no sense. And then if you look at X or any, social media website over the weekend, it shows Trump in France doing this weird handshake with Macron, and they're, squeezing each other's hands. And then there's a moment where Trump has to speak, and he says the fourth grade, fifth grade sentences like, we love France. We have a lot of French people. We play offense and defense with France. And it's this really low IQ. Mm-hmm. But the way the right projects him, oh my God, Donald Trump is back. America's back. The narrative should be, and I don't know why the left isn't more jumping on this, President-elect Trump has to go to France with a full-time babysitter. Mm-hmm. He looks like a moron with all of these weird handshakes. And when he speaks to the press with Emmanuel Macron, he speaks at a fourth grade reading level. And I didn't see any of that over the weekend. Those were just my observations of what a faceplant his trip to France was. But he has all these bros, and of course, Elon Musk is full-time babysitter that rigs the algorithm, that these guys think it's strength because you crank your arm up and do this really weird handshake. But then when you start speaking like a fourth grader, they just completely ignore that. And he just completely embarrassed himself. I mean, the whole thing that I saw in France was totally embarrassing. And then, he, like you said, the cologne, because he's the biggest grifter on the planet, and he puts First Lady Jill Biden up there, which I don't want to give that much of attention. That's what they want us to focus on all the time, and not what a beta male he is, why he's being babysat all the time, why he's talking to Vladimir Putin but not publicly talking about it. How close is his babysitter's relationship with Vladimir Putin? These are the things that they want to keep our eye off the ball by saying, oh, look, we can deter our enemies with our Trump cologne. Even Jill Biden's smiling. It's so stupid. It's child's play bullshit, but it's dangerous because it takes our eye off the ball as to whom Trump is really working for.
I find it so appalling, that handshake. I just thought to myself, Macron must be dying at what a shitty person he is, and how dumb Americans are that they elected him. And then, like you, when he started speaking, I was like, oh, well, this is going to go over great, because everybody who heard this is going to say, God, Americans are stupid because they think this guy's smart.
Right.
They think he's the guy. Uh-huh. I mean, I was horrified. I was embarrassed.
But where's the messaging? Why isn't that going viral right now? Trump has to go to Paris with a full-time babysitter. That shit would drive him crazy.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why he's allowed to dictate the narrative with the tariffs, or the clips where he somewhat sounded sane, even though he's lying in them.
Right.
And that becomes the news story versus here's a president-elect that seems to have a full-time babysitter with her all the time. And this babysitter happened to do a large investment into the campaign, and also happens to have a side relationship with Vladimir Putin, who is one of our adversaries. I don't know, call me crazy. I'm just a podcaster in Oklahoma City, but it seems to me like we're burying the lead here.
Right. We're missing the boat. And I could talk myself into the fact that Elon Musk and the oligarchs know that Trump is completely incompetent and mentally unwell.
Of course they do.
And maybe Elon's the one making the decisions.
I don't know. I think there is some majorly compromised position here that everybody is in. I don't know that Elon is making the positions as much as I believe that Vladimir Putin is a former KGB agent.
Right.
And they know the psychological profile of this man is to flatter him, offer effusive praise, and then you get him where you want him. So I think they are playing the game. I just think it's interesting that somebody that made that large of an investment into a campaign has not left the man's side since he was elected.
I even saw them. They were together on Thanksgiving.
All right. We'll see you guys later.
So, yeah, as you can see, they point out pretty well that Elon is sort of attached to Trump's coattails, giving everybody the idea that, there's more to what MAGA voted for than just Trump, okay? And people are starting to get kind of suspicious about this. I'd say, yeah, there's reason there to wonder, what's going on here? Who is really going to be sitting in the fucking White House? I mean, you got Musk out there telling everybody what he wants to see this country do to cut expenses, to cut $2 trillion out of the budget or whatever, okay? And he's telling them that, it's got to come out of Social Security, it's got to come out of the Medicare, it's got to come out of the VA benefits, it's got to come out of all these mandatories that we pay into, okay? And there's a reason why they're mandatory, is because they're necessary to keep this country going, to keep people able to survive. I mean, you're going to see an incredible number of new homelessness out there. If even half of what Musk is sitting here and Trump is talking about doing. I mean, look, even in that little video they were showing that interview, and the reporter had said to him that the tariffs would increase costs on the consumers here in America, and the first thing out of his mouth was a knee-jerk reaction. I don't believe that. And she kind of didn't let him finish that, but he read off, I don't believe that. And it made me wonder, how can he not believe that? Because that's exactly what happened when he did that the first time when he was president. Okay? When he had that tariff war with China, and it killed the farming market here at home, and they're still recovering from that. Okay? The soybean market, just fucking crashed. I mean, Jesus. I mean, and he turns around and he says, I don't believe that. Is that a sign that maybe his mind, it really is kind of falling apart if he says something like that off the cuff? Even though there's evidence everywhere that showed that those tariffs do exactly that. They will destroy markets in this country. And it isn't just China he wants to go after, mind you. He wants to go after Canada. He wants to go after Mexico and any other fucking import that we're getting our shit from. And like somebody said, you bring in, if you start putting tariffs on Canada's oil, because we get a quarter of our fucking nation's oil comes from there, that's going to raise prices at the gas pump considerably. Okay? They're going to pass that tax on to us that we're going to have to pay for the companies that don't want to pay it. So, and the lie that he continually says that, pre-COVID the economy was doing great while he was president. Technically, that's true, because at least for the first while he was president, we were still on Obama's economy that he had really done well with, and the country was just percolating along fine. And then he started that trade war with China I just mentioned. And then he implemented a huge tax cut for the millionaires. Well, hey, when you couple those two things together, what the hell do you think's going to happen? The market got bad, and that's what he handed Biden when he lost. Okay, Biden ended up having to fix that, and he did a damn good job doing that, because, like she pointed out, the stock market under Biden has like more than 3-4 times that Trump ever thought he did while he was president. Okay, Biden has blown him out of the water when it comes to the health of the economy. But Trump thinks, tariffs are the way to go, and that's going to make it better. No, it isn't going to make it better, and he knows that, or he should. And if he doesn't, then that is evidence to show that his mind is faltering, and that he should not be sitting in the White House. Which, like I said, comes back to this thing about Musk. Is he there to be a de facto or a kind of a representative of, to pull Trump's strings? We'll just say the puppeteer behind the administration. Is that what he is? Because everybody knows, the Republican Party knows Trump can't do it. He can't hack it anymore, okay? He's unfit. And so they needed Musk to get in there and do these things. And why him? Why Musk? Of all people, he's not even a fucking American, okay? I'm not saying that not being an American is a bad thing. I'm just saying when it comes to talking about how this country ought to do its business, on the government level, if you're not an American, you ain't got no say in it. You got no skin in the game. But apparently Musk feels he does, because he subcontracts for the Pentagon. So that kind of gives him a little access to things that, he really should not have. Okay, and like I said, when you hand out jobs like that to people that aren't American, I mean, you're setting yourself up for corruption. Okay, these subcontracts, these companies that the Pentagon deals with, should be American-based. Okay, and they should be run by Americans only. That you can't be handing these kind of things out to just any Tom, Dick, and Harry on the planet here. I mean, okay, I'm sorry, because you see what's happening here. We're getting interference now from a foreigner who just happens to be a billionaire who does things for the Pentagon, and that means he gets to be the figurehead or he gets to be the puppeteer behind the mannequin here, which is Donald Trump. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. I like it less than I did before that, when Trump won. But now it seems like we didn't. This country did not vote for Trump because that's not what they're getting. It's like everybody showed up to a football game and MAGA cheered its team to win all the touchdowns. And then they find out that Elon Musk took the trophy and walked home with it. Okay, because it doesn't sound like to me like even MAGA got what it wanted now. They got even less than they thought they had. First, they thought they got duped by Trump, and now they're finding out that Trump may not even be the one going to be sitting in the White House. Okay, so boy, I'll tell you, talk about being hoodwinked. Oh boy, and Musk being called a babysitter for Trump. I think that's pretty damn close. I think that, but you know something. When Kamala pointed out to people at home during that debate with Trump that Putin was going to eat Donald Trump's lunch. They were going to eat him alive. Putin would. Well, he didn't like that. But you know what? What she said about that was true. Okay? Because, like they said, Musk has had many appointments, many discussions with Putin over the years. And, through him, Putin could be manipulating the president. You see, everybody is pulling everybody's string here, but at the top of the ladder is Putin. Then you got Musk, and then you got Trump, and then you got all the underlings under Trump. But at the very top is Putin. Now, I ask you, do you think the military is going to sit still for that? I don't. I really don't think. If they have any evidence at all that shows that Putin himself is somehow manipulating things through Musk, so Musk is manipulating things through Trump, okay, the military would be incumbent on them to put a stop to it. The Pentagon would have to intercede at that point, because that's definitely our country being run from an outsider. I don't think that that's going to sit well if any proof of that comes out in the light of things. Especially after, what happens when they start cutting people's benefits and the veterans and stuff like that, when they start attacking the veterans. Okay, there's going to be blowback to a lot of these things that he wants to do. And when I say he, I mean Musk, President Musk. And Trump is really the vice president, which is probably why we don't see, what's his name anymore? J.D. Vance. Almost forgot his name. That's probably why we don't see much of J.D. Vance anymore, because, hey, J.D. Vance was just there to be the Robin to Batman. Okay, but once they won the election, there was no more need for Vance, because Elon Musk was going to be taken over anyway. So that makes Trump the vice president, and now we have President Musk. Okay, and that's that's really who's going to be running this country for the next 4 years, because Trump is only going to get worse mentally as time goes on, and before you know it, he's not going to make any sense at all. They'll keep him away from the press, and that's the reason why the press throws these softball questions at him. If you think that these people that interview Trump are going in there raw, you're fucking wrong. That never happens, no matter who the president is. The president, Democrat or Republican, always has a list of the questions that are going to be asked before they're even asked, okay? There's no surprises allowed. So, when they do these interviews, and it sounds like, they're giving Trump all kinds of leeway and everything, and then they don't challenge him, that's by design, people. That's by an agreement made between the president's people and whoever media outlet's going to question him, because they it's all about image. They learned that from the Nixon years, okay? So they won't do any fucking interviews unless they have control over how the interview is done. But in this case, like I said, people are bitching, she was being too easy on him. Yeah, and that's because both sides agreed that was the way it was going to be, because otherwise he wouldn't have sat down with her and answered a goddamn question, okay? And as his mental faculties deteriorate, these events, these interviews, are going to be fewer and fewer in between, because he's not going to be able to answer anything and sound, it's just going to embarrass everybody, and then that's only going to raise the question more about who's really the president here. Because look, why do you think Reagan was so gone by, in his second term? Nobody was really cornering him on anything, because he couldn't do these interviews like that. Even when it wasn't a campaign, like a debate, it was just a regular one-on-one. He couldn't do that anymore. He just could not hold a thought in his head. Well, that's how you're going to see Trump diminish here over the next 4 years. But in the meantime, as he diminishes, Musk is still going to be there pulling his goddamn shenanigans. And Trump's just going to keep signing his name on all the fucking documents. Okay? That's the way this is going to happen here, people. MAGA, you voted for somebody who was only going to be a phantom. Okay? It ain't going to be who you think it is that's president. It ain't going to be who you think it is. But fuck around and find out, right? That's what's going around, and the Republicans don't like hearing that, but that's what it is now. It's all about the finding out phase now. They fucked around, and now we're all finding out what it's going to cost us. So anyway, that's it for today, and I hope everybody has a great rest of the work week here. So subscribe, comment, and share. Keep your ears open for any health-related issues, and treat each other kindly out there, and shop safely. Watch out for people, and I'll talk to you guys later, so take care.